afternoon and welcome to the OCIDA Governance Committee meeting. The time is now 3:22 in the afternoon. Bill, could you please do a roll call?
Sure. Linda Muller.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Dean Tamburi.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Yeah.
4 of 5 members here. Jeffrey Chris is excused absence. For staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras, Dylan Burke on the AV, our General Counsel, Lena Sharetta here, our State Monitor, Brian Sandvidge is here, and we have a member of the public that is here as a guest, Michael Martin.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bill. Notice of the meeting was properly provided. Thank you very much. You all should have received a copy of the minutes from September 25th for our IDA Governance Committee meeting. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, discussions, or anything else regarding the minutes as they were presented to you?
No. Yep.
All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, the motion carries. Old business, policies and procedure review. Bill?
Yes, if the committee doesn't mind, I won't give the same level of detail, but it's the same
Thank you.
same seven policies that apply to IDA and OCFC. The management services agreement, whistleblower policy, audit services policy, notice policy, travel policy, FOIL policy, and the compensation reimbursement and attendance policy. In our prior meeting, I explained all of the specific changes to them, including a cover page that have specific sections for policy procedures, evaluation, etc. So they're here for your approval.
Okay, thank you very much. I will need a motion to recommend that the policy be approved at the board level. So can I get a motion for that?
Motion.
Thank you, Dean. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Giovanni. Any questions, comments, or concerns? There shouldn't be. You didn't have any last time, so we should be good this time. I'll call the question. All in favor of moving the policies to the board for their approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Bylaws.
Bylaws. So we updated our OCFC bylaws in this committee a few months ago, specifically related primarily to add some verbiage around an ethics officer, which was the suggestion from Anshin, the monitor. So we did add that. We added that language for OCFC and we finalized those bylaws. For OCIDA, we wanted to do the same, but we also wanted to make some revisions. Frankly, bring back some old language about a chief operating officer position and a CFO, a chief financial officer position. Right now, the CFO is not internal, but we have an external CFO who, we'll see in Finance Committee and Shannon Manisi from RBT CPAs. In a COO, we wanted to keep an option open to be able to appoint someone. And we did change it where the CFO can be external and that the CEO can appoint those positions, whereas it was by the board before. So those are the changes to the bylaws, including the verbiage about the ethics officer.
And there were a couple more changes, but nothing significant.
Right.
Okay, everyone had an opportunity to review the changes to the bylaws?
Yes.
And we will be reviewing these on a yearly basis to make sure that they are compliant. So I need a motion to approve the changes to the bylaws.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Giovanni.
Second.
Pick one.
Second.
Stop. Okay, Dean, thank you. Any further discussion on the changes to the bylaws? I hear none, so I'll call the question. All in favor of recommending that the changes to the bylaws be approved by the board of directors? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. And the jobs deficit report?
Yes, so just a little background. This is something we've been working with the monitor on for several months, where in doing their tracking, just identified basically where there were shortfalls from job creation and job retention goals. They included that in their last report to the Inspector General's office, and in that report we had said that we were aiming for this month to bring this to governance, to bring it to your attention. We probably would have done earlier, but it's been a crazy time. As you know, we've canceled some governance committee meetings. So unfortunately, our state senator did stage a press conference a couple days ago in order to try and highlight this, knowing, I would assume he knew, that we are going to be examining this and that we've done a lot of research talking to all these companies and finding out supporting information about it. So unfortunately there was some news out there and I had to respond to it, but I'm happy to make sure we go through this item by item, and we're going to talk about any areas where maybe a project is out of compliance or close to that. want to be able to share all the detail with you, have you ask me any questions, I'll go back and get any further information that you want me to get, or any other questions that we need to answer, and then frankly, our intention is to work with our council and getting their recommendation as to how we proceed. Actually, recapture, we want to be careful about what we talk about in terms of legal proceedings, like recapturing here, so we'll discuss with council after we see where we are on this list.
So I have a question, are any of
Yeah,
these, I don't think any of these projects are projects that, as a new board, we've approved, right? Or are there? It seemed they seem to predate us.
No,
Okay, I just wanna-
we have not approved any of these.
I just wanna make sure that we understand that for the record, that it wasn't the new board that.
And I'd also like for the record, that many of these projects happened prior to Bill's appointment as the CEO of the IDA.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sorry, thank you.
Was the old guard.
Yes, this, absolutely.
Or do you wanna look at this right now? You have a copy? Yeah, which, okay, I may take it back for a couple other board members, so. This is job creation, I had to kind of paste a couple pieces of
Got
paper
it.
together, so understand that.
Thank you.
They are in your report, but I wanna, this is expanded, this is, we did a 10-year look back at pilot, I'm sorry, Paris reporting. Because understand that the Paris report is just a snapshot, how many employees do you have at this point in time? And it doesn't tell the whole story about what the project created, over time. Let me do a couple more here, job retention as well. Job retention. Yep.
Pass it down, here you go.
Thank you. We did have some discrepancies from, the report that Anshin, sent to the IG and, what I'm giving you here. We did clean some things up, we made it clear to Anshin, we gave them this morning, an update on that and, told them exactly the areas where we found some discrepancies, so, there are some changes in those numbers here. Last thing for me to hand out is this. We'll start to go through it, thank you.
Thank you.
Or did I miss you on the retention? Did I give you that?
I got retention, yes, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, I'm gonna go item by item, if that's okay, go through all of these.
Yep.
Really focusing on the job creation piece. That's where-
Which one are you starting with?
So we're gonna go right to the top, BDL LLC. That is USAI Lighting in the town of New Windsor. I spoke with the CFO there and their controller. You'll see, again, now let me explain this graph, what this table shows. First of all, it's the name of the project. It says what year the pilot or the benefits expire. So whenever you see a year, that's when they expire. If it's in bold, it already expired. If the year is in bold, it already expired or is set to expire. Then we have project ends. That is when we consider the construction project completed. And that's when the grace period starts. We give 3 years for you to create the jobs that you commit to over that time. So the project ends means when the project construction was completed, and then the grace period is 3 years after that. And then the next column is jobs at the time of application. On their application, what did they commit to? Then we enter into the Paris reporting system. Sometimes the number entered there does not match the application. If it doesn't match, the number under the Paris column is in red, so you see that. And then we have the FTE to be created on the application. So how many jobs did they have when they applied currently? And then how many jobs are they claiming or committing to create in that time? So the dark blue column with the white total with the white font, total FTE goal, that's from the application, adding their existing employees at the time of application, plus their pledge to create, that's the number. So that bold column, those bold numbers are really the measuring stick for the most part. Going to the right, if you see anything in gray, any of those boxes that are shaded, they are either before the project began or before the grace period expired. So although in some cases, some projects hit their goal already in that time, it's not official until the grace period expired, so you see that. Also in those numbers, and again, this is Paris reporting from 2014 up to last year, 2024. These are the job totals reported. There could be some errors in entry in entering those figures because we do have some claims from projects saying that the numbers are not correct. But we are not. I did not update any of these numbers, even if the applicant told me that their numbers are wrong. Just like the Paris report, you cannot change a number once it's in there. So just like those numbers in red towards the left that weren't the same, don't match the application, they cannot be changed. So that is one of the challenges. So we're not changing them. So these numbers are what are reported, but I'm going to give you any changed numbers. If they're in green, bold, the numbers, then that means that the project in that year met or exceeded the job creation or retention goals. If it's in black, bold, then it means that it was generally within 10% of what that goal was. If it's red, then it did not meet the number, according to the Paris report. So let me go through here. USAID Lighting in town of New Windsor, they actually exceeded their job goal by 10 in 2019. They were within 10.6% of goal for 2020, 21, 22, and 23. They told us the 2016 figure of 46 is erroneous. It should be 175. They said that was the construction jobs is what they put in there. Their current headcount is 206. They did explain that they experienced attrition through COVID and have struggled to replace several workers. They experienced a downturn in sales in the last 2 years, but they're still actively seeking new hires. They're actually having trouble recruiting people. They recently added 3 to 4 new engineering positions. So you do see that they hit the number at one point and they were within 10% for several years. They've had a recent downturn, though they are looking to go to increase from there. I'll keep moving, but I will stop for any questions you have.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So just because it shows that they're under that number, it doesn't mean that they're not hiring. It could be that they just can't fill the positions.
Correct.
All right, I just want to clarify that.
Correct. The next is the Blooming Grove Hotel, Clear Key LLC. That's the Sleep Inn in South Blooming Grove on 208. I have a typo right in here, I'm sorry. It was sold and we assigned or transferred the IDA benefits to the new owner, and that was in 2020. Sorry for my typo there. First of all, they refute that 6 existing jobs were in the application to be retained. It's a brand new hotel, so I'm not sure what those 6 jobs are as well. I know it was a family that owned the property and they developed it. Maybe they were claiming every family member or something like that. So they really feel their commitment is for the 7 new jobs, but in total it's 23 with those 6. Let's see, they claim the Paris records for 2022 and 23 are inaccurate. They say that they submitted a compliance report in February of 23 listing 13 full-time and 12 part-time, so that would be 19. They count at 25, but we consider that 19 FTE. The 0 figure currently in the board's packet appears to be a clerical error, so they say, as it directly contradicts the signed affidavit they provided. Likewise, the 11 FTE figure for 2013 doesn't align with their records. So they have asked if they could have more time to look through. I did tell them we had a meeting. I talked to them this week as well. They wanted to have a little more time because they're doing kind of their own audit with it. But they do think some of the numbers are incorrect. Let's see what else they say. Because December is the absolute slowest season for the hotel industry in this region, a head count taken on that specific day, that point in time, could significantly underrepresent actual employment levels throughout the year. They're currently conducting a full review to demonstrate their annual average is higher than the slow season snapshot suggests. As noted on page 6, the original commitment of 21 jobs was 14 full-time plus 7 part-time, so that's technically 17.5 FTE. We're confident we'll reconcile the missing numbers. We're meeting the intent of the agreement. So sure. And again, they're asking for a little more time to be able to come back and show us what they believe their figures are. That's the hotel in Blooming Grove. Next is Carlisle Construction, Hunter Panels. This is a manufacturer of roofing panels that actually one of the few times we took from the region. They left Kingston and we got them to town of Montgomery. Our contact, this is one of a few times our contact we've been dealing with up till this year is gone. So this is why we didn't hear back from some of these companies. They retired in this case. The benefits did expire in 23. The project exceeded the goal of 94 FTE for at least 3 years, and they reached within 10% for another 4 years. When asked why it took longer than expected to hit the target employment, they said that speaking with the director of supply chain, market growth back in 2012 through 2015 was still recovering from the recession. They began seeing significant growth 2015 through 23. Employment increased accordingly as additional shifts were added, although the commissioning new equipment took longer than anticipated. I asked about reasons for fluctuations in the employment. They said they saw steady increases from 2015 through 24. Increased competition in 25 has led to some headcount reductions as volume has declined. To combat this, they'll be investing in additional equipment to maintain their competitive advantage. Going forward, they said they see steady employment increases, or they saw that they increased competition led to invest in, okay, that's a redundant piece there. So that's what they had said, and you see their totals that again, they were at the goal or around, exceeded the goal or right around there for several years. Moving on, CPV Valley Energy Center. This is the power plant in the town of Wawayanda. The project has achieved job creation totals within 10 or 12% of the original goal all along. Speaking of, they stressed that page 7 of their app says estimated jobs, and then in a June 2014 letter, which I do have up on my computer, they revised that goal to 23. So they're saying their real goal is 23 rather than 25. And their director of tax said they consider 25 permanent positions a reasonable initial estimate given the length of time between the application date and the placed in service date. So they are very close. They have hit the number of 23 as their number, but that's something that maybe we take another look at. That's CPV. Next is Crystal Run Healthcare. I will say, now known as Optum, I will say this is the company that I have the most difficult time getting a hold of. We called, left several messages for our contact who provides these figures every year. I didn't get a call back until I let him know about the press conference. He has since left Optum. He just didn't call me back. He left in August, which is when we were starting calling basically. And we finally, I talked to a number of people in the organization, Crystal Run and in Optum, and I have recently been dealing with the CEO of Optum Health, Dr. Jonathan Nasser. So he's been very helpful. So there are 3 projects. One in the Village of Monroe, a brand new healthcare center they built there. Then they rebuilt their administrative facility on Rykowski Lane in the town of Wallkill, not 95 Crystal Run or 155, which are their 2 main healthcare centers. But this is an admin building. That's CRH Realty 6. And then CRH Realty 8 is their new, relatively new facility in the town of Newburgh on Route 300, not far from here. So for Monroe is the biggest challenge, I would say, and it really needs attention by this group, by the board eventually. You know, I hope that we give them time to come in. I think they may even come in person and respond to this. But this is the biggest concern, I would say. The CEO was surprised by the original aggressive job goal of 452. He was stating that 364 is the highest employment level that how do I describe the network of healthcare facilities for Crystal Run has. Middletown, 155 Crystal Run Road is their busiest one, the highest employment level they've had there at 364. So he was questioning why that was committed to, but that's just sharing that. He said current staffing levels at the site are 145. Several factors have affected their ability to create and maintain staff, including a reduction in available physicians, the downturn in fiscal challenges of local hospitals in recent years, the role of remote work, and the transition of the company through the sale. Their staff and legal counsel are involved in this now, and they're reviewing their reports to the IDA and their own records to verify the accuracy of what was reported, and they're going to come back to us. These benefits for this project expire at the end of 2026, so they're at the end of next year. So I would say that's, of this entire list, this one's the most concerning. The next is Crystal.
Before you go on
Sure,
with the
sorry.
Crystal Run, after the sale to Optum, many of their departments have been closed, and that will absolutely impact the total number of employees. They let the lab go, they let PT go, OT went, some of the specialties are no longer available. So they've created their own reduction in workforce simply by changing how they do business.
Okay.
Can I make a comment? They,
No.
It's not really
Oh,
public
yeah.
comment.
It's not.
It's not.
oh, you can't make a
No.
comment, she made a comment on what you said.
If it's not a public hearing, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's, you can't have public comment.
I'll talk to you when you're
Talk afterward, absolutely.
thank you.
Happy to do that, no problem. So CRH Realty 6, that is again the Town of Walkella Admin Center. The benefits expired for this project in '23. They did hit the original job retention plus creation goal of 500 in 2018. They were within 10% of that goal another 4 years. It dropped below within 10% of goal in the last year reporting. The number was 421. That's just the difference there. Same explanations from the CEO as to any downturn, even though that one obviously has been performing. Last one is their Town of Newburgh location, CRH Realty 8. The benefits expire at the end of this year, at the end of this month. They came within 20% of the original job creation and retention goals at 257 for 8 years. Their best year was 2021 at 225 staff. The attainment is within reach, but the project claims the same factors described for CRH 3 apply to this project. Okay, those are the Crystal Run ones. Next page is Crossroads Court. That's the Hampton Inn in the Town of Newburgh, where the old Orange County Choppers were. This was also sold a few years ago, and I believe this board, this administration has approved the assignment or the transfer of those benefits. So they hit their original job creation goal of 30 for 4 years, with the highest count being 50 in 2022. They added the following: we own the Hampton Inn Woodbury, which is located in Central Valley. There are some efficiencies in owning the two similar assets, and the reporting time also the reporting time is okay. There are some efficiencies, so they share staff is what they were describing between the two facilities, and that contributes to the number being lower. They also said that when they report to the IDA, typically it's when their head count is at its lowest. That was also said by the first hotel we mentioned. They have 2 employees in the Woodbury payroll who also work at Newburgh as a night auditor and breakfast attendant, basically what they said in the first paragraph. And they also wanted to add that they use many local vendors on various projects at the property, including paving solutions from Monroe, United Air Conditioning, Refrigeration and Plumbing, based in Newburgh, and many more. They wanted to add that. That's Crossroads Court. Next one is Hudson Transit Lines, Coach USA, the bus service based out of Chester. The benefits for this project expired in 2023. The project hit its job creation plus retention goals of 228 for 5 years, the highest being 343 in 2016. But they did take a huge hit in ridership through COVID, and it hasn't recovered. Traffic between Woodbury Common, which they provide shuttles, is also down for them. And they also had trouble replacing staff after several retirements, and they're having an especially hard time securing drivers with CDL licenses. They're hoping to add more services and then add more staff soon. But that was a big hit since COVID, that one, otherwise they were hitting their numbers. Steris Isomedics, if you don't know who they are, they use gamma rays and other technology to, what's the word I want to use, sterilize medical equipment, scalpels, things like that. They do that in the facility in Chester, and they expanded it. Our former contact left the company, and another one retired, so we did lose 2 people. It was a little tough to get them, but we did eventually. The project hit its job retention and creation goal of 135 for 5 consecutive years, with the highest level being in 167 in 23. They claimed the figure of 96 in 2024 was an error, and it should be 167. And their benefits expire at the end of 2026. Next is MediaCom. This was a retention project, essentially. No, they had job creation as well. Retention and creation. They were retaining 250 employees and adding 150 jobs with the new headquarters and call center that they built in South Blooming Grove. You can kind of see it off the highway in 17 when you're going down that way. The project was never able to fully reach their original job creation retention goal of 400, though they were within 9.2% for 10 years. Additionally, they claim that historically, they only reported full-time permanent employees and not contract employees in their reporting to the IDA. They attached a letter that I have for that. And they also said, quote, they identified at least 21.2 full-time equivalent jobs at MediaCom Park in 2024 that would fall under the contractor category. We also have regular temp agency placements that work at our offices, interns, and other contract services that work here. Excluding our office closure during COVID, they believe this number to be 20 or higher for every year that they've been open. IDA benefits for this project expire in 2027. A couple more. Millennium Pipeline. This is, of course, a gas pipeline that comes through Orange County. It goes through the towns of Deer Park, Greenville, Minnesink, Tuxedo, and Warwick. This is one where it shows two that I'm gonna talk about in a row here, not in a row. Two in a row on your list that report 0, and those numbers should not be 0. How we handle that, their erroneous reporting, whatever it be, we'll get guidance from council on that. But basically, let's see, our former contact retired here as well. Their benefits expired in 2024. The explanation for the zeros reported was that the jobs were not specific to Orange County itself, and this was clear in their application. They said the total is closer to 35 FTEs, with around 20 in the field for a service company and 5 in the office. The application stated that 17 employees would be engaged to a service company and another 10 to be located at the company headquarters in Pearl River. So the idea is that the jobs created by this project aren't located in Orange County necessarily. Someone will be going there for maintenance and such, but it's not to be stationed there. It's for the whole length of the span. It would be those jobs, and again, they estimate them to be 35 FTE right now. So they think it should not be 0, but they weren't reporting it because those jobs aren't in Orange County. And again, they assert that that was the intention of the application. It's Millennium Power Pipeline. Next is Retford Investments, which is the LLC for Pillar Power Systems. They make
Well, that's on the job retention, only that's not on job creation.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going as I have in my explanation. I'll just go like this. It is under retention. This one, Retford, it's under your retention line. Yeah, the red one halfway down. It's unclear on their applications. It just says 100% of the current jobs will be retained, so it's unclear. But the the Paris report had 42 on it, so that's a number we're assuming it must be. Let's see, Retford, Pillar. So the company satisfied its original job retention goals of 42 for 5 years, but employment has dropped off the last 3 years to the last reported level of 34. The control, I'm working with the control on this, he's doing more research and we'll get back to it soon. IDA benefits for this project expire at the end of next year, 2026. That's retention, but the next one is the FBI headquarters that's here at Stewart Airport on the campus. This was another kind of fundamental misunderstanding. It's a developer landlord that built the building and leases it to the FBI. They have been reporting the jobs that were created for their company by this project, which is 0, and it should be the FBI. So, let's see, they've confirmed that the FBI group at Stewart Airport currently has employment levels of 110 total, 82 full-time and 28 part-time. The controller is working with the developer to give us this staffing levels for the last 10 years so we can see exactly what it was. But I know every day I go by it, that parking lot has been full. That building is completely full. Even larger numbers than we anticipated, so 110 total people there. What's that, 96 FTE is what they're saying is the current total right now. Well over the goal of 30. All right, last 3 here, last page. Montefiore St. Luke's Hospital. This is a retention goal. Our retention goal for this project was 1405. The hospital believes their employment numbers were underreported to the IDA. Their records show the following totals from 2004 to 24, 1218, 1219, 1222, 1233, 1242, 1254, 1229, 1218, 1296, 1392, and 1428. They're reporting their current headcount is 512.
1,500.
I'm sorry, 1,512. Sorry, thank you for that. Beyond this, the hospital did experience a downturn several years ago before their strategic alliance with Montefiore, and something, very significant is they closed the entire Cornwall campus. The last piece of that was the emergency room, which closed in 2016. So that was a major hit they took. And the bonds weren't necessarily for that, campus, but obviously that's what's affected their total employment figures. So they've given us updated numbers. That they think are closer to compliance, and again their current number is 1512. Next is Sentinel Realty of Port Jervis. This is a retirement community in the town of Deer Park. The project claims to have misreported their 2023 job figures at 0, and it should have been 57. If we include that, the project has come within 10% of the original job creation plus retention goal of 61 for 3 years. Also, they added, quote, "We consistently have overtime, which would be equivalent of another 2+ FTE. Additionally, we have indirectly created other FTEs that are paid from our corporate office. These include various administrative and regional oversight positions. The IDA benefits for this project expire in 2028. And last one, Glen Arden. This is the retirement community in Goshen. Of course, this committee has talked about this in the past because they have failed to, they've been in financial turmoil. They have failed to make pilot payments to the affected taxing jurisdictions. We've been involved in many of those discussions and negotiations. Our council drafted a letter, kind of a warning letter about potential recapture steps being considered by this committee and the board. But we have made a decision to hold off on that letter collectively because there is a pending sale. We've been getting updates on that sale. I've been updating council, I've been updating our monitor about that. They expect it to play into 2026, but they do expect the project sale to close, in which case they would be making all the affected taxing jurisdictions whole for their past unpaid pilot payments. And the employment figures are a different story, of course. They said that they had 238 employees at the time of application, said they were gonna be creating another 105, doesn't say that on the app. So that is 243, and the numbers haven't been above 94, and that was last in 2018. So highest total is 94, but I don't think there's anything on here that I haven't said. So that we've already discussed recapture, and I assume that unless you change your mind, we still wanna wait until the beginning of 26 to see if the sale goes through, and then we see where things go with the project. But that is company by company, our research, and what's been reported to us from these applicants.
When do you think you'll have the FTE numbers for 2025? Will that be the beginning of next year?
We're in the process right now of collecting it. Did the letter go out yet?
No, the letter will go out in January. And
Okay.
They have to respond by, I think, the first or second week of February, they're supposed to.
Yeah, we just reviewed and finalized that letter. That'll be going out.
I think excuse me, there's like, it seems like there's like some sort of reporting, right, they're not reporting properly, or if like some of these hotels, whatever, if they're saying what it is at the end of the year, do we do an average, do we do, does it say that in the application somewhere? I mean, those, it seems like we don't have the correct information for whatever reason, so we have to.
I think that's one of a number of issues here that we've gotta lean on council for, to kind of interpret where we are, they've gotta look at the agreements that were signed, cause it can vary. For example, CPV Power, they talked about how their application said estimated 25. So how, do we have to hold them to that? You know, those are some things that we have to understand on a case by case
Yeah,
basis.
and to Linda's point earlier, like I said, none of these projects occurred on our watch, I mean, so it's not mine, and nor yours, so we have to go back before we decide to do anything, look at those agreements, look at those resolutions, what was agreed to, and assess what we're gonna do. But again, these are projects that go back a ways, so we have to go back and delve into those.
Bill, are you creating any policies moving forward, understanding what we're learning from this here, to see how we could really justify their numbers now? In other words, if they're giving us a 0, should it be a flag and say, wait a minute, time out, is that number correct? And
Yeah,
start to
we've
really
actually
push
been
back.
working with Anshin, and they gave us a tracking spreadsheet that we can use that kind of helps put this information, viewable in one place. I think it's gonna help us track this. Part of the issue, because I know everyone has said it not on our watch or this, that, and that's absolutely the case, but it's our responsibility to be tracking these
Right.
numbers for sure. We've been doing the Paris reports for the last few years and reviewing them. I think why I didn't catch some of these is that the numbers, there weren't drastic drop-offs on a lot of these numbers. It's where they had been, like Crystal 1, for example. So we didn't see a huge drop-off, but we do need to be able to track them with the original figures like we're doing here. So going forward, the tracking is much tighter, and we'll be able to pick these issues up going forward. And then we have worked with Anshin on that. It's been helpful.
And those compliance issues will come before the governance committee.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you this, for me anyway, I mean, I don't, like, some of these businesses, whether it was a COVID issue or whatever, I mean, these are businesses, I don't know, you know, we don't wanna lose a business, like we talked about, for an example, this Glen Arden, right? I mean, there's people in this facility, right? If we, yeah, it's easy for us to say, okay, we have to, we claw it back, but then what happens to the people who are living in the facility, what happens to the people who are currently working there? You know, so, for me anyway, I mean, businesses go up and down or whatever, I'm not saying we don't look at it, but if they are running into an issue and they're really trying in this area, in our Orange County area, for me, it's like, we're gonna have to give them a little somewhere along the line, I say leniency, maybe that's not the correct word, but as they move forward, cause they might be a little lower and then gain or whatever, but as an overall, but if we see zeros or whatever across, obviously there's a concern and whatnot, but, we just have to check it a little closer, that's all, for me anyway. I mean, these are businesses, I mean, I don't know a business ever who hasn't had ups and downs and whatever, and if we just blanketly claw it all back, are we actually hurting our business community that we're looking to serve going forward in the future, and tax base, et cetera? That's all. I mean,
That's certainly the concern with Glen Arden, no doubt about it. Like you said, there are people living in that facility, there are people that are employed there. The sale would be the absolute best outcome. That would, again, make the taxing jurisdictions whole, it would keep people's jobs, it would put them in a stronger financial position, you know, available to grow. So we're hoping to not disrupt that, and no question about it, but if it doesn't go through, or if it drags on too much longer, obviously we still have a responsibility to hold it.
No, absolutely, I don't take the responsibility lightly, but I also think that these are some of the things we have to take into consideration as we're looking at each one of these.
I think adding to Dean's point, which is a very good point, is that we have to understand what's happening in these industries, right, in that sector.
Yeah.
Like, as Linda, as you were aware, the medical sector right now is taking a beating.
For sure.
And as we're moving forward, we're looking into chips and we're looking at high tech. Well, high tech changes quick.
It does.
And you don't know how that impacts the industry, you know, yesterday was AI and whatever, but I think we have to understand before we start really going after somebody, right, what's really happening in the industry? Is it an industry thing, or is it that they just absolutely didn't tell us accurately at the beginning that they were, what the real intent was?
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Do we, in any capacity, have advisory concept, or some type of warning for some of these organizations?
If they're not hitting their numbers?
Yeah, they're not hitting their numbers.
I don't think we have a set policy for that right now, but that's something that I you know, council just left, but I do wanna lean on them for some guidance on, you know, how we handle that, you know, what, do we need to develop a policy where it's spelled out exactly how we, exactly what steps we take? Is it everything on a case-by-case basis? So that's what I am looking for our council to guide us on, exactly.
I think one of the biggest problems is that it's perfect storm kind of thing. You had 2.5 years of COVID, unemployment that was opened and no one was really looking to have to get a job. And now we're in a new position trying to rebuild the workforce. And that's one issue. As Giovanni said and Dean said, the industries are changing. I mean, you don't have very many private physician offices anymore, and the big ones are being sold. They're not independent. Christopher One Healthcare is now part of Optum. You're gonna see that more often. Garnet is no longer independent. They're going to be part of Montefiore. So when you look at those efficiencies that are being built in, you're not gonna need 2 or 3 CEOs, you're not gonna need 2 or 3 CFOs, you're not gonna need, and the bottom line is, these are for-profit organizations. There are shareholders that they're gonna be responsible to, and I think we need to be cognizant of that. But to the point about having a policy, I think we really could, and that could be at the time of application, based on council's recommendations, so that people don't really understand. Pie in the sky is no good, realistic numbers are great, keep the lines of communications open, should those numbers not be met.
For sure. So my intended next steps will be to get any information we want, you know, that we still need. You know, somebody said that they come back and verify the numbers, so we'll keep doing that. I'm gonna discuss all of this with council, and again, on a case-by-case basis, to determine really what their feeling is about what we can do, and then I'll be looking to come back to governance, either at the very next meeting or the meeting after that, depending upon what council tells us, for sure. And then at some point, again, I'll look for his guidance, I think we should bring this to the full board. So I'm gonna send this report to the full board, so they have everything, including these explanations. But at some point, I see this matter coming before the board, so for some reason, even if it's just reported.
So we don't have anything that we need to formally bring to the board tonight?
No,
Okay.
no, this is
I
just.
think it would be
for
helpful
reference,
too, I understand that what's in the record is in the record, and then our attorney has to figure that out, but it wouldn't hurt if the board saw what a revised sheet would really look like, even though it's unofficial,
Right,
and it doesn't mean anything, but internally for us to say, all right, what's the real number? I think that would be very helpful, and you guys tell me if you're wrong, if I'm
No, I
wrong.
think you're right.
Absolutely.
And then, you know.
And certainly, you know, that will get out in public, and so the public will need to see, they should see
They should.
what the right numbers are instead of
Yeah.
the numbers that are not right.
And why the reporting was.
yeah,
Who knows?
absolutely. But bottom line, I do wanna say that starting this year, 2025, the IDA had 39 active projects. That means projects that are still receiving. Obviously, we've had hundreds of projects that are still receiving a pilot, whatever it might be. And after review, assuming their numbers are correct, what some of these projects gave to us, only a handful never met their full goal, and I think it was about 3 that never made it within 10%. So, most of them, for sure, met their goal at some point. Maintaining it was the challenge. There are fluctuations due to sectors, et cetera, so. But the real story is that, you know, only a handful are really have any compliance issues at all.
And we're talking about, listen, again, very serious issue that they haven't met their goals, however, we're also discussing how many jobs they've actually created with the incentives that they've had throughout, and
Sure.
people that have taken advantage of that as well.
Mhm.
And you see help wanted signs all over the place, and hopefully we'll get all this rectified.
The other
Sure.
piece that would be of interest, at least to me, is how many open jobs are there that are not filled and that
Right.
they're attempting to fill?
That's a
So
great point.
that's
Good point.
really important to know.
It would be good to understand if it's because they're not filling the positions, or they just
But
can't.
can't fill them. There's a big
Correct.
difference
Right.
between the two.
And again, to your point, which is a great point, is that if you went on one of their websites or something, you said, you can see it, you went on to the workforce development, you see that they've been listed for years looking for employees, that would make a big difference in
Absolutely.
what we're doing as well.
Okay, great.
So- We don't need anything.
Yeah, just while Lino's back, really what we left it is, I'm gonna wait to get any other revised numbers or
Mhm.
any other supporting documentation from the projects, sharing this with you obviously right away with your team. I'd like to go over it with you on a case-by-case basis, and then we'll bring it back to this committee based upon the timing that you tell us.
Yep, we'll do that.
Based on what we'll do, okay? So that's our next step, is confer with council on all this, and I'll come back to the committee,
Okay.
okay?
We have no other further business that needs to be conducted through this committee, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Doctor. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This meeting is called